The steam from the espresso machine hissed like a serpent, curling into the November air of the cafe. Maya Chen pressed her palm against the cold marble countertop, feeling the grain beneath her fingertips. Tiny galaxies of white and gray swimming in the stone. The scent of burnt milk and vanilla syrup hung thick enough to taste, coating the back of her throat. Her phone buzzed. Once, twice, 3 times. She didn't look at it. Outside the floor-to-ceiling windows, Seattle's rain turned the world into watercolor, bleeding grays and muted greens, the Space Needle a distant pencil stroke against low clouds. A woman in a camel coat rushed past, heels clicking in urgent rhythm on the wet pavement. Maya watched her disappear around the corner toward the boutiques on Pine Street where price tags never showed the first digit. Your latte? Miss. The barista slid the cup across the counter, foam art swirling into a perfect rosetta. Maya wrapped both hands around the ceramic, letting the heat seep into her palms. Her fingers were cold. They were always cold these days, even though the cafe was warm, even though she was wearing the cashmere sweater her mother had sent for her birthday. 27 years old, and her circulation was already failing her. Or maybe it was something else. She lifted the cup, inhaled. Vanilla. Madagascar vanilla, specifically, the expensive kind that perfumed the air with notes of cream and something darker, earthier. The kind they used at Cafe Apollonia, where she'd spent every Tuesday morning for the past 3 years, back when the cup slipped, coffee splashed across the marble, a brown constellation spreading toward the napkin dispenser. Maya stared at it, her hands frozen in midair, and for a moment she couldn't breathe, couldn't move, because the scent had triggered something, a memory that shouldn't exist. Couldn't exist. A fragment of Tuesday morning, the same vanilla scent, but it was summer, not November, and the girl across from her was laughing, head thrown back, her phone screen glowing with notifications. Maya, look at this. We hit 50,000 followers. The brand deal is happening. I told you this would work. And Maya had smiled, had nodded, had signed the paper her best friend slid across the table, signed over the Instagram handle she'd built from nothing, the one she'd created in college when Instagram was still new and handles were still available. Maya Chen, her name, her brand, her identity. Just for legal purposes, Serena had said, her eyes bright with excitement and what Maya had mistaken for sincerity. The LLC needs to own it. We're partners, babe. What's yours is mine, right? Maya blinked. The cafe swam back into focus. The barista was reaching across the counter with a wad of napkins, saying something about refills, about accidents happening. But Maya couldn't hear her properly because her mind was still echoing with that memory, that impossible, crystal-clear memory of something that hadn't happened yet. No, something that had happened 5 years from now, in a life she'd already lived. She stood abruptly, chair scraping against polished concrete. Her phone buzzed again, and this time she looked at it. The screen showed a text from a number she didn't have saved. Maya, it's Serena Park from Intro to Marketing. Remember me? Well, I'm starting a social media consulting business, and I'd love to pick your brain. Coffee sometime? Maya's hands weren't cold anymore. They were burning. The apartment smelled like old radiator heat, and the lavender candle that never quite masked the scent of the previous tenant's cooking. Maya dropped her bag by the door and leaned against the wall, pressing her forehead to the cool paint. She was losing her mind. That was the only explanation. Except she could remember everything. Not in the hazy, dreamlike way you remember last night's dream, but with the sharp clarity of lived experience. She remembered the next 5 years as if she'd already survived them. Serena Park, with her glossy black hair and her effortless smile. Serena, who would befriend her, propose a partnership. See, convince her to sign over at Maya Chen for the business. Serena, who would then systematically push Maya out of the company they'd built together, claiming Maya wasn't pulling her weight, wasn't creative enough, wasn't enough. By year 3, Maya's name would be removed from the masthead. By year 4, she'd be served with a cease and desist letter for using her own name in her freelance work because it was too similar to the brand. By year 5, she'd be sitting in a different cafe, not Apollonia, she couldn't afford Apollonia anymore, watching Serena accept a Forbes 30 Under 30 award for building an empire on the handle that was legally entirely hers. And Maya would be starting over with at MayaChen_official, a username that screamed desperation, that announced to the world she'd lost control of her own identity. She died on a Tuesday, a stupid, mundane death, slipping on black ice outside her studio apartment, hitting her head on the concrete. The last thing she'd seen was the gray Seattle sky, the same sky she'd looked at this morning. And the last thing she'd thought was that she should have fought harder, should have never signed that paper, should have. But here she was. November 15th, 2022. 5 years before the fall, literally and figuratively. 27 years old again, standing in the apartment she'd just moved into after leaving her marketing job to pursue content creation full-time. Her phone buzzed. Serena's text glowed on the screen, waiting for a response. Maya walked to the window and looked out at the city. Rain streaked the glass, distorting the lights below into impressionist smears. Somewhere out there, Serena Park was probably in her own apartment, probably crafting the perfect message to seem casual and friendly, probably already planning how to use Maya's established following and expertise to jumpstart her non-existent business. In the old timeline, Maya had responded within an hour. "Serena! Of course I remember you. I'd love to grab coffee." She'd been flattered, lonely even, moving to a new city for a job, building a following online, but struggling to make real friends. When Serena had reached out, it had felt like fate, like the universe providing exactly what she needed. Now, she knew better. Maya opened her Instagram app. The interface looked slightly different than she remembered. Cleaner, less cluttered. This was before the algorithm changes, before Reels dominated everything, before the platform became what it would become. Her profile showed 47,322 followers. Decent numbers for a lifestyle and career advice account. Not influencer territory yet, but growing steadily. At Maya Chen. Her handle, her name. She scrolled through her recent posts. A photo of her morning routine, a carousel about negotiating salary, a reel about work-life balance. The engagement was good. Hundreds of likes, dozens of thoughtful comments. These people trusted her, followed her because she was authentic, real, willing to share the unglamorous parts of building a career. In 5 years, they'd still be following at Maya Chen. But it wouldn't be Maya behind the account. It would be Serena posting curated perfection, selling courses and coaching packages, building an empire on the foundation Maya had laid. Unless Maya's thumb hovered over Serena's text. She could ignore it. Block the number. Refuse to engage. Live a completely different life. One where Serena Park remained a vague acquaintance from a college marketing class. Nothing more, but something in Maya's chest burned with a different idea. A darker one. In the old timeline, she'd been naive, trusting. She'd signed over her handle because she'd believed in partnership, in friendship, in Serena's promises of shared success. This time, she knew exactly how it would end, which meant she could control it. Maya started typing. "Serena, yes, I remember you. I'd love to catch up. How about Thursday at 3 p.m., Cafe Apollonia on Pike?" She hit send before she could second-guess herself. Thursday arrived draped in fog, the kind that turned the city into a ghost of itself. Maya arrived at Cafe Apollonia 15 minutes early, claimed a table by the window, and ordered a vanilla latte she wouldn't drink. The same table where, in another life, she'd signed away her future. Not this time. She'd spent the last 2 days planning, researching, understanding exactly what was about to happen and how to weaponize it. Serena arrived exactly on time, because of course she did. She moved through the cafe like she owned it, long wool coat swinging open to reveal a perfectly coordinated outfit, designer bags settled just so on her shoulder, smile practiced and warm. She'd always known how to make an entrance. "Maya," she leaned in for a hug that smelled of Chanel No. 5 and ambition. "You look amazing. I love your hair like that." Maya's hair looked the same as it always had, dark, straight, pulled into a ponytail because she'd been up late researching Instagram's username policy and hadn't had time to style it. But she smiled anyway. "Thanks, you look great too." They sat, ordered drinks, engaged in the dance of small talk. "How's Seattle? What have you been up to? Remember that professor who only gave us to people who brought him coffee?" Maya let Serena lead the conversation, watching her work. The way she leaned forward, making eye contact, nodding enthusiastically at everything Maya said. The way she dropped casual references to her consulting business without providing details. The way she mentioned, almost as an afterthought, that she'd been studying your Instagram, actually. You've built something really special. Thanks, Maya said. It's been a lot of work. I can tell. Oh, your engagement rate is incredible. Serena pulled out her phone, scrolled. See, this is what I want to talk to you about. I'm launching a social media consulting agency, and I need someone who really gets it. Not just the numbers, but the storytelling, the authenticity. Here it comes, Maya thought. I was thinking, Serena continued, her voice dropping into a more intimate register, like they were old friends sharing secrets. What if we partnered? Combined our skills? I have the business background, the client network. You have the content expertise, the proven track record. We could build something incredible together. In the old timeline, Maya had felt her heart soar at these words. Someone saw her potential. Someone wanted to build with her, not just use her. Now she saw the manipulation for what it was. That sounds interesting, Maya said carefully. What would that look like exactly? Serena's eyes lit up. She pulled out her laptop. She'd brought her laptop to a casual coffee, Maya noted, and opened a presentation. Sleek slides, professional graphics, a whole pitch deck ready to go. So, I was thinking we'd form an LLC, Serena said, clicking through slides. Park and Chen Creative. We'd offer social media strategy, content creation, influencer partnerships. Your Instagram following would be part of our portfolio. Proof of concept, and we'd grow it together, use it to showcase what we can do. My Instagram, Maya repeated. Well, the company's Instagram. For legal purposes, we'd need to transfer ownership to the LLC, but you'd still be the face of it, the voice. I'd handle the back end, contracts, invoicing, business development. You do what you do best, create. The vanilla scent from Maya's untouched latte drifted between them. In her other life, this was the moment she'd said yes. The moment she'd believed that the company's Instagram was different from Serena's Instagram. I'd need to transfer at Maya Chen to the LLC, Maya said slowly, as if thinking it through for the first time. Right, just for liability purposes. You know how it is. If the account is under your personal name and we're using it for business, there could be tax implications, legal issues if a client has a problem. It's cleaner if the business owns the assets. Assets. That's what Maya had become in Serena's mind. An asset to be acquired. What about compensation? Maya asked. Serena had an answer ready. She always had answers ready. We'd split everything 50-50ths. Equal partners, equal say. I'm not going to lie. The first year will be lean. We'll need to invest in ourselves, build the client base. But once we're established, sky's limit. She clicked to another slide. Projected revenue, growth charts, numbers that looked impressive if you didn't know they were pulled from thin air, aspirational fiction disguised as business planning. Maya studied the presentation. In her previous life, she'd been dazzled by the professionalism, the vision. Now she saw it for what it was, a sales pitch, and she was the product being sold to herself. Can I think about it? Maya asked. Something flickered across Serena's face, too quick to name. Annoyance, frustration, but her smile never wavered. Of course, take your time. I know it's a big decision, but Maya... She reached across the table, touched Maya's hand. Oh, I really think we could do something special together. I wouldn't have reached out if I didn't believe in you. The touch felt calculated. Everything about Serena felt calculated. They finished their coffee, exchanged pleasantries, promised to talk soon, and then Serena gathered her laptop, her designer bag, her perfectly coordinated coat, and swept out of the cafe like she was already someone important, someone worth watching. Maya sat alone at the table, staring at the ring of condensation her latte had left on the marble. She pulled out her phone and opened her notes app. Started typing, Instagram, username policy, research notes. Username squatting, prohibited under Instagram's terms of service. Squatting defined as claiming a username without intent to use it, claiming multiple similar usernames. Claiming usernames to sell them. Accounts can be reported for username squatting. Instagram investigates reports and may remove usernames from inactive accounts or accounts that violate TOES. Usernames can't be bought, sold, or transferred for monetary value. She read through her notes twice, then opened Instagram's Help Center and read the username policy for a third time. A slow smile curved her lips. Maya spent the next 3 weeks playing the role Serena expected, the eager but cautious potential partner. They met twice more, always at Serena's suggestion, always with Serena leading the conversation, shaping the narrative. Maya asked questions. Good questions, the kind that made Serena think she was being smart and thorough. What happens if one of us wants to leave the partnership? How do we make decisions if we disagree? What's the exit strategy? Serena had answers for everything. The partnership agreement, she'd already drafted one, had it reviewed by a lawyer friend, was airtight but fair. If either party wanted to leave, they'd need to give 6 months' notice and would forfeit their share of company assets. Company assets meaning the Instagram account, Maya clarified. Among other things, the client list, the intellectual property we develop together, the brand we build. But honestly, Maya, I don't see us splitting up. We're going to kill it together. Maya smiled, nodded, let Serena believe she was winning. Meanwhile, she was building her backup. She created a new email address Serena didn't know about, started a burner Instagram account under a completely different name, H Creative Strategist M, and began slowly, carefully migrating her most loyal followers to it. Not obviously, just occasional stories mentioning her Punko new account where she was testing some ideas, asking people to follow if they were interested. She archived her best content from @Maya Chen, downloaded every post, every caption, every comment, built a private database of everything she'd created. And she researched, deep dove into Instagram's policies, into case studies of username disputes, into the exact language Meta used when discussing account violations. The key phrase she kept coming back to: username squatting, the practice of claiming usernames with no intention of using them appropriately or with the intention of selling them. By mid-December, she'd moved about 30% of her most engaged followers to her new account. Not enough to raise suspicion, but enough to have a foundation to rebuild from. On December 18th, over coffee at Apollonia, always Apollonia, Serena loved the aesthetic. Maya said the words Serena had been waiting for. I'm in, let's do this. Serena's face transformed, pure, genuine joy, or a perfect imitation of it. She pulled Maya into a hug, squeezed tight. You won't regret this. I promise, Maya. We're going to be incredible together. They spent the next 2 hours going over details, the LLC formation, Park and Chen Creative, though Serena had already filed the paperwork, just to have it ready. The partnership agreement, which Maya read carefully, noting every clause that would in 2 years be used to edge her out. The username transfer process. Instagram makes it easy, Serena said, pulling up the settings on her phone. You just add me as an admin first. Then once the LLC's Instagram account is set up, we'll transfer ownership. Actually, Maya said, keeping her voice light, I was thinking, what if we do it the other way around? I'll transfer @Maya Chen to you, and then you can set it up under the LLC. Serena blinked. To me personally? Well, yeah, you're handling all the business setup, right? It's probably easier if you own it temporarily, then move it over once all the legal stuff is finalized. Plus, Maya laughed, made it self-deprecating. Honestly, I'm terrible with paperwork. You're so much better at the administrative stuff. She watched Serena calculate, watched her decide whether to push back or accept this gift of trust, this demonstration that Maya was really, truly buying in. Trust won. Or greed did. Hard to tell the difference. Sure, Serena said. That works. We'll do it tonight so we can start fresh in the new year. They exchanged a few more details. Serena paid for coffee, a gesture that felt patronizing but was probably meant to seem generous. They hugged goodbye on the rain-slicked sidewalk, and Serena click-clacked away in her expensive boots, probably already texting her friends about her brilliant business move. Maya walked in the opposite direction toward the bus stop, her hands warm despite the December cold. That night, following Instagram's prompts, Maya transferred ownership of @Maya Chen to Serena Park's personal account, the handle that had defined her life. The username she'd claimed when Instagram was young and names were still available. Her digital identity, her brand, her following, all signed over with a few clicks and a confirmation email. In her previous life, this had been the beginning of the end. This time, it was the beginning of something else entirely. January arrived cold and bright. Maya watched from a careful distance as Serena took over @Maya Chen. The first week, nothing changed. Serena posted the same type of content Maya had been creating. Career advice, lifestyle tips, motivational quotes. She even maintained Maya's caption style. Her voice. It was eerie watching someone else perform her personality. But by week 2, subtle shifts began. The post became more polished, more commercial, more focused on Park and Chen creative, and less on the authentic, vulnerable content that had built the following in the first place. Serena started selling. Hard. A coaching package, a course on building your personal brand. Sponsored posts that felt jarring against the previous content. The comments section, which had once been a community of engaged followers sharing their own experiences, became a marketplace. Maya watched the engagement rates drop. Watched confused comments. This doesn't feel like Maya anymore. Did someone else take over this account? Why is everything a sales pitch now? Serena deleted the critical comments, bought followers to inflate the numbers, posted more frequently, flooding feeds, desperate to maintain the appearance of growth. By February, the account had technically gained followers. Serena's purchased bots, but the real engagement had cratered. And Maya, she focused on at creative strategist _M. She didn't announce it was her, didn't link it to her old account, just created content. Raw, honest, helpful content about career strategy and personal development. She engaged authentically with commenters, built relationships instead of chasing numbers. Word spread organically. This reminds me of old at Maya Chen, someone commented. Before it went corporate, her followers found her, the real ones, the engaged ones. They followed both accounts for a while, probably confused, but slowly at creative strategist _M became their preferred source. Maya didn't message Serena, didn't engage with the new Park and Chen creative ventures. When Serena texted, excited messages about client prospects, requests for Maya's input on strategy, Maya responded politely but vaguely. She was busy with some personal projects. She'd circle back soon. Serena was too focused on her new toy to notice Maya pulling away. By March, we at Maya Chen had 52,000 followers, up from the 47,000 when Maya had transferred it. But the engagement rate had dropped by 60%. The comments were sparse. The shares were non-existent. It was a shell account. Numbers without meaning. Maya's new account had 8,000 followers, real people, engaged people, people who commented on every post, who shared her content, who sent her messages thanking her for her advice. Quality over quantity. And then, on March 15th, Maya made her move. She opened Instagram, navigated to at Maya Chen, and tapped Report Account. The options appeared. Spam, inappropriate content, impersonation, username squatting. She selected username squatting. The form asked for details. Maya provided them, carefully worded, factually accurate. This account was transferred to the current owner in December 2022. Since then, the account has been used primarily for commercial purposes, unrelated to the original content. The current owner has purchased followers to inflate numbers and has used the username to sell products and services rather than maintain the authentic community it was built on. The username at Maya Chen is my legal name, Maya Chen, and I believe the current owner is squatting on it for commercial gain. She attached screenshots, the engagement rate drop, the purchased followers, obvious in their bot-like profiles, the commercial pivot, the deleted critical comments. She submitted the report, and then she waited. Instagram didn't act immediately. Maya hadn't expected them to. The platform received millions of reports daily. Her single complaint was a drop in an ocean. So she reported again. And again. Not spam. She was careful about that. But once a week, a new report with updated evidence, more screenshots, more documentation of purchased followers, more examples of the account's commercial pivot. She also did something else. She encouraged her followers on at creative strategist _M to engage authentically with the content they loved and to report accounts that seemed inauthentic. She never mentioned at Maya Chen specifically, never told anyone to report it. That would have been against Instagram's policies too, would have backfired. But her followers were smart. They noticed the same patterns she documented, and some of them, independently, made their own reports. By April, Serena's texts had changed in tone. Hey, have you noticed the engagement's been weird lately? Instagram's algorithm is killing us. Any ideas? We need to talk strategy. Can we meet? Maya responded with sympathy, but not solutions. Yeah, the algorithm changes are rough. I'm dealing with it too. She wasn't lying. The algorithm was challenging, but she'd learned how to work with it instead of against it, and at creative strategist _M was growing steadily. In early May, Serena called. Actually called, voice shaking with frustration. Maya, Instagram restricted the account. They're saying there's suspicious activity. I've been trying to verify it's me, but they keep asking for proof of identity for Maya Chen, and I can't. I mean, you transferred it to me, but they're saying. Slow down, Maya said, injecting concern into her voice. What exactly are they saying? They want verification that I'm the legitimate owner of the username at Maya Chen. They're investigating reports of username squatting. Maya? Oh, did you report the account? The question hung in the air, accusation and disbelief braided together. Why would I do that? Maya said. We're partners. That account belongs to our business. That's what I told them. But they're saying that since the account was transferred to me personally, and my legal name isn't Maya Chen, and the account has seen significant changes in content and engagement patterns, they need to investigate whether it's legitimate ownership or username squatting. Maya let silence fill the space. This is insane, Serena continued. I didn't buy the username. You gave it to me. We have a partnership agreement. Did you show them the agreement? I tried, but they're saying partnership agreements don't override their username policies. They're saying that usernames can't be transferred for commercial purposes, and since you gave me the account and I immediately started using it for business, it looks like… She didn't finish the sentence. Didn't need to. What are you going to do? Maya asked. I don't know. I'm trying to verify it, but Maya… Her voice cracked slightly. I need you to tell them. I need you to confirm to Instagram that you willingly transferred the account to me, that it wasn't squatting, that we're legitimate business partners. Of course, Maya said. Just tell me what you need. Instagram's investigation process was opaque by design. Maya received an email asking her to verify details about H. Maya Chen, when she'd created it, why she'd transferred it, whether the transfer was part of a sale or commercial arrangement. She answered truthfully. Devastatingly truthfully, I created at Maya Chen in 2019 using my legal name. I built the account to share career advice and lifestyle content. In December 2022, I transferred ownership to Serena Park as part of a business arrangement. Since the transfer, the account has been used primarily for commercial purposes, selling coaching packages and courses. The content and voice of the account changed significantly after the transfer. My understanding is that Miss Park intended to use my established following and username for her business ventures. She didn't lie. Every word was factual, but facts, presented in the right order, could tell very different stories. Instagram also investigated Serena's account independently. The purchased followers were obvious to their algorithms. Sudden spikes in follows from accounts with no activity, profiles with randomly generated usernames, followers from countries with no connection to the account's content, the dramatic drop in organic engagement, the shift from community-focused content to pure commercialization, the deleted comments, the reports from multiple users about inauthentic behavior. All of it painted a picture. Someone had acquired a username with an established following and was exploiting it for commercial gain, which was exactly what username squatting was. Serena called Maya 3 more times. The first call was desperate, begging Maya to clarify her statement to Instagram. The second was angry, accusing Maya of sabotage. The third was resigned, defeated. They're removing the username, Serena said, her voice flat. They're deleting it, Maya Chen. They said it violated their username squatting policy. And since I'm not Maya Chen, I don't have rights to the handle. They're giving me 48 hours to change the username before they suspend the account entirely. I'm sorry, Maya said, and meant it. Not sorry that Serena was losing the account. That had been the plan. But sorry for the person she'd been in her first life, naive enough to believe that giving away her name wouldn't cost her everything. Are you? Serena's voice had an edge now. Because I've been thinking, Maya. This is convenient for you, isn't it? You transfer the account, I build it up, get it restricted, and now you're free to reclaim the username. Were you planning this the whole time? Maya could have denied it, could have acted shocked, hurt, betrayed by the accusation. Instead, she said, "Does it matter?" Silence. You know what I've learned, Serena? Instagram's policies exist for a reason. Usernames aren't supposed to be commodities. They're not supposed to be transferred for business purposes, bought and sold, squatted on for commercial gain. They're supposed to represent real people, real identities. You gave it to me. I did. And you used it exactly how I knew you would. You turned a community into a marketplace. You bought followers to inflate numbers. You deleted comments from people who questioned the changes. You did everything Instagram's policies say you're not supposed to do. We were partners. Were we? Because I remember you filing the LLC paperwork before you even asked me to join. I remember you having the partnership agreement already drafted. I remember you having a whole pitch deck ready for our casual coffee. You knew what you wanted from the start, Serena. You wanted my audience, my credibility, my handle. You just needed me to give it to you willingly. Another silence. Longer this time. So this was revenge, Serena said finally. No, Maya said. This was a lesson. You wanted to build a business on someone else's foundation, someone else's name, someone else's work. You wanted the shortcuts, the easy route to success. Instagram just reminded you that shortcuts have consequences. Fuck you, Maya. Good luck with the username change, Maya said, and ended the call. Instagram's policies were clear. Once a username was removed for violating terms of service, it returned to the pool of available handles, sometimes immediately, sometimes after a review period. Maya waited. @MayaChen disappeared from Serena's account on May 18th at exactly 11:47 p.m. Pacific time. The account still existed. Serena had changed it to @ParkChen Creative in a last-ditch effort to maintain some connection to the original, but Maya's name was free. At 11:52 p.m., Maya changed @CreativeStrategist_M to @MayaChen, the username that had defined her first life and destroyed it. The handle she'd built from nothing, signed away in trust, lost in betrayal. It was hers again. She stared at her profile for a long moment. 12,000 followers. Decent engagement. A growing community of people who followed her for her insights, not for a polished brand or commercial pitches. She could rebuild. She would rebuild. But this time, she'd do it right. This time, she wouldn't confuse partnership with surrender. Wouldn't mistake someone wanting to use her for someone wanting to know her. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I hope you're proud of yourself. You manipulated me, used me, destroyed what we built together. You're not the person I thought you were. Maya read it twice, then blocked the number. She opened Instagram, looked at her reclaimed handle, and started typing a new post. Sometimes the hardest lesson is learning that not everyone who wants to build with you wants to build for you. I took a few months away to remember why I started sharing my journey in the first place. Not to build a brand, but to build connections. Not to sell, but to serve. I'm back, and I'm grateful to everyone who stuck around. Let's build something real together. She posted it, watched the likes roll in, read comments from followers who'd missed her voice, who'd noticed that MayaChen had changed and wondered where she'd gone. Welcome back. I knew something was off with that other account. This feels like you again. Missed your posts so much. Glad you're here. Maya smiled, set down her phone, made herself a cup of tea, mint, not vanilla, and sat by the window watching the rain paint Seattle in grays and silvers. In her first life, she'd lost everything because she'd trusted the wrong person at the wrong time. She'd died with regrets, with the bitter knowledge that she'd given away her power and had nothing to show for it. In this life, she'd done something different, something colder maybe, more calculated, but also more true to herself, to her worth, to the understanding that sometimes you had to let someone take what they thought they wanted so they could learn why they never deserved it. Her phone buzzed again. Not Serena this time, a DM from one of her followers. Hey Maya, I'm starting my own business and someone offered to partner with me but wants me to sign over my social media accounts to their LLC. Something feels off? Do you have any advice? Maya's fingers moved across the keyboard. Trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. Your name, your brand, your identity. Those aren't things you should give away lightly. A real partner will build with you, not at you. Keep your accounts in your name. If they push back, that tells you everything you need to know. She hit send and felt something settle in her chest. Purpose, maybe, or peace. This was why she'd been given a second chance, not just to reclaim what she'd lost, but to help others avoid the same traps she'd fallen into. Summer arrived, and with it, a gradual shift in the digital landscape Maya occupied. @MayaChen grew steadily. Not explosively, she wasn't buying followers or gaming algorithms, but organically through word of mouth and genuine engagement. By July, she had 25,000 followers. By September, 40,000. Each milestone felt different this time. Earned, not given. Built on foundation she controlled, not borrowed credibility. She saw Serena occasionally. Seattle's creative professional scene was small enough that their circles overlapped. At a networking event in August, they ended up in the same conversation group, discussing Instagram's latest algorithm changes. Serena looked different. Thinner, maybe, more edges. Her smile didn't reach her eyes, and her designer bag looked more carefully curated than casually chosen, like armor she'd selected with precision. When their eyes met, Serena's expression flickered. Recognition, resentment, something that might have been grudging respect, before smoothing into professional neutrality. They didn't speak directly, didn't need to. At Park Chin Creative had 15,000 followers now, mostly the purchased bots Serena had accumulated during her brief ownership of At Maya Chen. The engagement rate hovered around 0.8%, abysmal for an account that size. Serena still posted, still tried to sell coaching packages and courses, but the authenticity Maya had originally brought to the account was gone, and the audience knew it. Maya watched from a distance, not with satisfaction exactly, but with the cool certainty of someone who'd predicted every step of this particular dance. In October, she got a LinkedIn message from Serena. "I know we didn't end well, but I wanted to reach out. I've been reflecting on what happened, and I think we both made mistakes. I was too focused on growth, on scaling quickly, and I lost sight of what made your content special. Maybe we could grab coffee sometime? I'd like to understand your perspective." Maya read it 3 times, looked for the angle, the manipulation, the hidden agenda. Maybe it was genuine. Maybe Serena really had learned something. Maybe this was an olive branch, an attempt at closure or even reconciliation. Or maybe it was another pitch, another play, another attempt to leverage Maya's success for Serena's benefit. Maya didn't reply immediately. Instead, she let the message sit for a week while she considered what response would serve her best. Finally, she typed, "I appreciate you reaching out. I'm not interested in coffee, but I am interested in honesty. What happened between us taught me a lot about boundaries, about the difference between partnership and exploitation, about the importance of protecting my work and my name. I hope it taught you something too. I wish you the best in your ventures." Professional. Polite. Final. Serena didn't respond. By December, exactly 1 year after she'd transferred At Maya Chen to Serena, Maya hit 75,000 followers. Her engagement rate was 12%, which in the current Instagram landscape was exceptional. She'd launched a course, but not the kind Serena had tried to sell. Instead of promising overnight success or get-rich-quick schemes, Maya's offering was honest, building your professional brand authentically, a 6-week foundation course. The price point was accessible. The content was substantial. The reviews were glowing. She made enough to quit freelancing, enough to move to a better apartment, one with floor-to-ceiling windows and a view of Puget Sound, enough to feel secure, stable, in control of her own trajectory. But more than the money, more than the numbers, what mattered was the community she'd built. The comments section was alive with genuine conversation. People shared their struggles, their victories, their questions. They supported each other. They built connections that extended beyond Maya's content, creating their own networks of mutual support. This was what she'd wanted in her first life, what she'd thought she was building with Serena. On December 18th, the anniversary of signing over her account, Maya created a special post. Not about Serena, not about betrayal or revenge, but about lessons. 1 year ago today, I made a decision that changed the trajectory of my business and my life. I won't go into details, but I will say this: the most expensive lessons are often the most valuable ones. I learned that my name has worth, that my work has value, that partnership should be mutual, not extractive, that growth at any cost isn't growth, it's compromise. I learned to trust my instincts, protect my boundaries, and build on foundations I control. If you're in a situation where someone is asking you to give away your power, your name, your platform, your leverage, in exchange for promises of partnership or success, I want you to ask yourself, is this person building with me or at me? Are they investing in our mutual success, or are they trying to shortcut their way to credibility using my work? The answers will tell you everything you need to know. Thank you to everyone who's been part of this journey. You're not just followers. You're the reason I show up every day to create, to share, to build something meaningful. Here's to another year of growth, authenticity, and learning. The post exploded. Thousands of likes, hundreds of comments, dozens of shares. People told their own stories of betrayal and reclamation, of learning hard lessons, of choosing themselves when others had tried to choose for them. Maya read every comment, responded to as many as she could, felt the weight of community, of connection, of building something that mattered more than numbers on a screen. Her phone rang. Her mother, calling from San Francisco. "I saw your post," her mom said. "Are you okay? Did something happen?" Maya walked to her window, looked out at the city lights reflecting on the dark water. "Oh, yeah, Mom, something happened, but I'm okay. Better than okay." "You're being cryptic." "I know, it's a long story. I'll tell you sometime." "Will you?" Maya smiled. "Probably not. But I'll tell you this. I learned how to value myself, how to protect what's mine, how to tell the difference between someone who wants to lift me up and someone who wants to stand on my shoulders." Her mother was quiet for a moment. "That's a hard lesson." "The hardest." "But you learned it?" "I did." After they hung up, Maya made herself tea, vanilla this time, reclaiming even that small pleasure, and opened her laptop. She had a newsletter to write, a course module to record, a collaboration proposal to review from someone whose work she genuinely respected, whose values aligned with hers. Real partnership, mutual respect, shared success. It existed. She just had to be selective enough to wait for it. The Seattle rain tapped against the windows of Maya's home office, a real office now, in a house she'd bought in Capitol Hill, not far from where this had all begun. Maya Chen had 250,000 followers. Her courses sold out within hours of launching. Brands reached out for partnerships, and she accepted the ones that aligned with her values, declined the rest. She'd been featured in Forbes' 30 under 30 inches for social media. The irony wasn't lost on her. In her first life, Serena had accepted that award using the platform Maya had built. In this life, Maya accepted it herself for work she'd created and protected and grown through her own effort and strategic thinking. She didn't gloat, didn't post about it tagging Serena, or making pointed references to their history. That wasn't her style. Instead, she used her feature article to talk about username security, about protecting digital identity, about the importance of reading terms of service and understanding platform policies before making decisions that could affect your brand. She never mentioned Serena by name, never told the whole story publicly. But people who'd followed both accounts, who'd watched the drama unfold from the outside, they understood. They connected the dots. Sometimes Maya saw references to it on social media. People using her story as a cautionary tale, advising new creators to protect their handles, explaining username squatting policies, warning against partnerships that required surrendering control of core assets. "Don't pull a Serena Park" became shorthand in some creator communities for making grabby, short-sighted business moves. Maya neither confirmed nor denied any of it. Let people draw their conclusions, focused on her own work, her own community, her own growth. On a Tuesday in March, 2 years and some change after she'd reclaimed her name, she got an email. Subject: opportunity to speak at Social Media Week Seattle. They wanted her to keynote, to talk about authentic brand building, about navigating the creator economy, about protecting your digital identity. Maya accepted. The day of the conference, she dressed carefully. Not in designer labels or calculated aesthetic, she'd never been that person, but in clothes that felt like her. Professional, polished, but comfortable. Real. The venue was a converted warehouse in SoDo, exposed brick and industrial lighting. Hundreds of creators, marketers, small business owners, people building something. Trying to understand this strange digital landscape where identity was currency and authenticity was both demanded and dismissed. Maya stood backstage, listening to the event organizer introduce her. Built one of Seattle's most engaged Instagram communities, known for her authentic approach and ethical business practices. Please welcome Maya Chen. She walked onto the stage, the lights were bright, the audience was attentive, and for a moment she was back in that cafe, vanilla scent in the air, about to make a decision that would determine the next 5 years of her life. Except this time, she'd made different choices. This time, she was standing here on her own merit, speaking from her own authority, building on a foundation only she controlled. "Thank you for having me," Maya said, and her voice was steady, clear, her own. "I want to talk to you today about something that seems simple, but is actually incredibly complex. Knowing what's yours and protecting it. Your name, your work, your platform, your voice." She clicked to the first slide. Not a dramatic reveal, not a call-out, just a simple fact. At Maya Chen, created 2019. "This is my Instagram handle," she said. "It seems obvious, my name, my account, but I almost lost it, almost gave it away because I confused collaboration with capitulation, because I thought partnership meant surrendering control." She told the story. Not all of it, some wounds were private, but enough. The partnership proposal, the transfer, the realization that something built on borrowed foundation couldn't last, the strategic reclamation. "I'm not telling you this to shame anyone," Maya said. "I'm telling you because this happens every day. Someone new to the creator economy, excited about a partnership opportunity, signs over their assets without understanding what they're giving up. And by the time they realize what happened, their name is locked into someone else's business structure. Their audience is being sold to by someone else, and their identity has become someone else's commodity." The audience was silent, attentive. "Instagram's username policy exists for a reason," Maya continued. "Usernames aren't supposed to be traded, sold, or squatted on for commercial gain. They're supposed to represent real people, real identities, real communities. When someone tries to build a business on your name without you, they're not just violating platform policy, they're violating the trust that built that community in the first place." She talked for 40 minutes about authentication, verification, platform policies, about reading contracts, understanding terms, protecting digital assets, about the difference between partnership and exploitation, between collaboration and co-option, about choosing yourself, even when, especially when, others make you feel selfish for doing so. When she finished, the applause was sustained, genuine. People stood. Not everyone, but enough to feel the impact, the resonance. During the Quanda, someone asked the question Maya had been expecting. "Do you regret how it went down? The way you reclaimed your handle?" Maya considered, chose her words carefully. "I regret that I had to do it at all. I regret that I was in a position where someone I trusted tried to take something that was fundamentally mine. But do I regret protecting my name, my work, my identity? No, not for a second." Another question: "What would you say to the person who, to Serena, I mean, if she's watching?" Maya smiled. "I'd say the same thing I'd say to anyone building a business. Build on your own foundation. Create your own value. Don't take shortcuts using other people's credibility. It might work in the short term, but it's not sustainable. And it's not ethical." After the panel, people approached her, handed her business cards, asked for advice, thanked her for her honesty. One woman, maybe mid-20s, waited until the crowd thinned. "I'm in a similar situation," she said quietly. "Someone wants me to transfer my TikTok handle to their business. They're saying it's just for legal purposes, that I'll still control everything, but after hearing you speak, trust your instincts," Maya said. "If it feels wrong, it probably is. Keep your handle. Keep your control. A real partner won't ask you to give up your identity to prove your commitment." The woman nodded, eyes wet. "Thank you." Maya watched her walk away and felt something shift in her chest. Purpose, maybe. Or completion. This was why she'd been given a second chance. Not just to reclaim what she'd lost, but to help others protect what was theirs. To share the lessons she'd learned, the knowledge she'd earned through failure and strategic thinking, and careful application of platform policies most people never bothered to read. She'd turned her rebirth into something meaningful. Outside, the rain had stopped. Seattle gleamed wet and clean under breaking clouds. Maya stood on the sidewalk, breathing in the scent of petrichor and possibility, and pulled out her phone. One notification waited. A DM on Instagram. From @ParkChenCreative. Maya hesitated, then opened it. "I was at your talk. You made some good points. For what it's worth, you were right. I did want your audience more than your partnership. I thought I could build something faster using what you'd created. I was wrong. Not about wanting to build a business, but about the shortcuts. They don't work. Not sustainably. Anyway, I'm shutting down the account. Starting over with my own name, my own content. It's slower, but it's mine. I thought you should know." Maya read it twice. 3 times. She could ignore it, could delete it, could respond with something cutting. Something that would make Serena understand exactly how much damage she'd tried to cause. Instead, she typed, "Good luck. Building something real takes time, but it's worth it." Short, final, not forgiveness exactly, but acknowledgement. A closing of the circle. She hit send, pocketed her phone, and started walking toward the bus stop. The city stretched out around her, familiar and forever changing. And Maya Chen, owner of Maya Chen, creator of her own success, guardian of her own identity, walked through it with the quiet confidence of someone who'd learned the hardest lessons and had the scars and the wisdom to prove it. The vanilla scent of a nearby cafe drifted on the breeze. Maya breathed it in, let it go, and kept walking. Some things you reclaim, some things you release. The trick is knowing which is which. And Maya finally knew.